Hello, my name is José Castro. I am from Guatemala, and I work probably in decentralized water quality monitoring. Like all the places, all the contexts where there's no access to a certified lab. How do you actually ensure that water safety from a water safety plan type definition? How can we actually make sure that there's no contaminants in the water that people are consuming, but also like for irrigation or commercial purposes as well. I think it's a big area of issue that we don't have the right tools to approach that problem yet. Good question. In terms of key takeaways, I think it's a very active community, and I think there's a lot of people doing a lot of work, and I think people are recognizing how much there is still left to do. So it's good, but it seems like USA, having committed resources to this type of stuff, and organizations doing the same. It's good that there's resources kind of coming to this problem, which of course is really big and has a really large human cost. Maybe my one kind of question, and this is always in all sessions probably for me, is that water quality is always kind of like maybe a secondary consideration. Like we're always focused on like water access, but of course having enough water also has to be of the right quality for human consumption. I think that's not just me trying to make my area of expertise more valid, but I think historical cases have shown that like Bangladesh, for example, shown that if you don't consider water quality at the same time, it has some path dependency issues will show up probably a little too late. So that's where I think, water quantity, that's just the other side of the coin, like water quality. These two things have to be considered integrally. Of course, it's a very complicated problem, because then, if you do have groundwater, for example, that's usually assumed to be safe, but turns out there's arsenic, what do you do? There's never an easy answer. And then if filtering is the solution, who's paying for the filters, who's supplying, and then who's managing all of that. It's not an easy problem. So all of us that kind of decided to embark on working on these problems have to kind of realize that there are very complicated solutions that are not easy to even reach. Yeah.
Great.
Good question. How did I get into water, I guess, and especially water quality? So my background is in chemistry. I studied chemistry and mathematics, and kind of knew I wanted to do environmental stuff, very generally entering college, having done kind of chemistry in high school, and that being kind of my interest. And there was this professor in my undergrad that was working on a new kind of type of sensor for lead. And they need some modeling, some computational modeling, and thought that sounded interesting. Of course, that was very chemistry focused, very technical. And then I actually found that it was very interesting in the water sector, in that there's a chemistry side, but then there's a policy side, a governance side, and even the sociology, how people interact and understand water. So I thought this is cool. It's a very big, complicated thing. So it's a nice challenge to be in, and of course it's relevant for people like me from Guatemala. We have water issues that we don't even know what they are. We just know they are. Starting from the policy side, there's no good regulation. There's no regulation on water. So I think there's a lot of work to do. So in terms of picking a career, I think it's good in one that there's a lot of work to do with climate change even more. And in terms of what I want to do, I feel like my life mission, in a kind of one weird sentence, will be to make electrochemical testing recognized by the WHO as a valid mechanism for water quality monitoring. Because I think that every day that's not the case, it's really costing a lot of human lives. We know that type of thing can be very good, very reliable from glucose monitoring, which is kind of the industry where I was working previously. That's super accurate and cheap and portable and all the above. But it's not compliant, right? So the day the WHO kind of recommends that type of testing, I think there's going to be a lot of progress, and I think there's going to be a lot of downstream benefits to a lot of people that need it. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you.